Well, panel, according to the Times of London, good magazine or paper that one, royal eyes are moving to Scotland as the threat of independence once again emerges. Now, the palace has earmarked, apparently, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge to spend a bit more time up north in a bid to keep the kingdom united. So, look, in 30 seconds or less, is an independent Scotland really a threat? And if so, are William and Kate the right people to stop it? Tanvir, what do you reckon?
Well, I think it is a threat. The referendum, the polls are now approaching 60%. COVID was handled well. Kate and William met in Scotland. They've got real ties to Scotland. They are the right people.
All right. Now, what do you make of it, Nicholas?
Look, I mean, the general principle in these matters is that the royals should stay out of politics, but this could possibly be an exception because it is their kingdom, after all, which does seem to be at risk. And given the politicians are making such a hash of it, it seems the royal family have decided they've got to throw two of their best forward to try and put the case. And as Tanvir has said, there is some links there. Of course, it's not without some controversy. Prince William did meet with Gordon Brown recently, who's a supporter of Scotland. He's a Scotsman, and he's a supporter of Scotland staying in the Union. But look, I think the bigger issue here is what's going on with Prime Minister Boris Johnson. He's clearly had a falling out with the royal family. The Prime Minister and the Queen have not met face-to-face since the pandemic began, and apparently the Queen is still livid over the Prime Minister's attempt to prorogue the Parliament in 2019 being found to be unlawful. So all sorts of trouble there between Number 10 and the palace, and I guess the royals now trying to take some matters into their own hands. Interesting times ahead.
It's always interesting. Daisy, what do you make of it?
Well, I think an independent Scotland is a huge threat. I mean, we saw it in the result of the last UK election in 2019, the way Scotland went. It was very evident that there is an appetite there for it. I'm going to be so sad if that happens because that is an absolute massive change. That's bigger than Brexit if we get an independent Scotland. But look, if anybody is going to convince the Scots not to go ahead with that and to stay as part of the Union, it is absolutely Prince William and Catherine Middleton. They are the best of the royals aside from the Queen, and I certainly hope that they can convince a few Scots not to go the way of independence.
Well, I don't think they'll be sending Harry and Meghan up there. I'll give you that tip. But I think
we're pretty confident about that one.
Yeah, look, I've heard from good sources not happening. But look, I think the important thing here, the danger is for Scotland. It's not for anybody else. The Scots require the United Kingdom to economically function the way they do. They are, in some respects, like South Australia, they need capital from the bigger economies, in that case England, to keep their budget alive. And when you look at, for example, the military assets, they are predominantly in Scotland, but they are Royal Navy assets. There's no guarantee they'll keep them. And then, of course, you've got the North Sea oil reserves, which, again, legally may not remain Scottish sovereignty after a split-up. So I think it's a sort of an idea whose time really should have left. I mean, a mature Scotland would say we're better off in the United Kingdom. I mean, after all, if they leave the UK, what's their plan? To go into the EU. So I don't really understand how independent they really want to be.